All right, guys, we are back. Welcome to the Beanball Podcast, and we're going to talk about some contracts this week, the future, a lot more. Let's get it started. What's going on, everyone? This is the Beanball Podcast. We are your host, Alan and Alan. This is episode 1, but I guess 1.5, you can call it, since fortunately 2 weeks ago we recorded a podcast, and when I went to go edit it and post it, Mike did not work.
Yeah, we had technical difficulties.
New equipment.
But if you haven't noticed, we are now the Beanball Podcast.
Yeah.
Formerly known as AA Sports Podcast.
Yeah. Beanball, more baseball related. It's more of a baseball name. So, new look to the setup.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it now, take a look at our Instagram. Alan's making it look pretty dope. So that's going to be our new look. And moving forward, hopefully, good things will come.
Yeah, good things. So let's get into some talk. I guess first thing we can talk about is fans being at opening day. Here of the kinds of numbers that are being allowed at games is getting interesting. Like Ohio, of course, with the Indians, right now they have the most looks like going to be able at 30%, which would be just over 10,000 fans.
Okay.
So that's good. Miami Marlins are looking at 25%, which would be around 9,000. But unfortunately, they only averaged 10,000 fans back in 2019, so it's almost a normal crowd for them.
Yeah, so they're doing well. Although they did so well last year, the crowds might want to increase, so they could be selling out every game. Who knows?
And then currently, this week, New York allowed to start having fans at their sports events. If the stadium is over, I think 10,000, you're allowed to have 10%. So, like Madison Square Garden stuff, it's not much, but if you look at Yankees and Citi Field for the Mets, Yankees will have just around 5,000 if this stays true, and then Mets will have around 4.
Wow, that's not a lot, especially for New York baseball.
No. So it could change. We are still about a month away from opening day. Mets opening day is not till like the second week of April, so they have a little bit extra time since they open up in D.C., but Yankees do open in opening day in New York. So right now, you're talking 5,000 fans, unless it changes.
All right. Well, fun fact, I don't know if you've heard, but the Mets have been the most team that's been betted on to win the World Series.
Yes, the most active team to win the World Series. It's kind of shocking to me. It's unreal.
Everybody's believing the hype. I mean, there's been a lot of moves happening in New York, a lot of big signings. I know. Looking at some of the chat, there's a lot of people who are kind of disagreeing with it, like, we should have done more, this or that. You guys are crazy. I think what the Mets have done has been great.
Yeah, I think it's been great moves. We'll definitely talk about it. And I think if you look at the Dodgers, what they did last year, yes, it's great. They still have a great team, but it is hard to repeat.
Oh, yes, it is. Even though they're the favorites, though.
Yes, they're still the favorites.
Followed by, I believe, the Yankees and the Padres. A couple other teams are in there.
I think it's Padres, Yankees, then I think Atlanta, then Mets.
Crazy, right?
Yes.
Man, it's going to be a fun season. That's all we got to say.
It is.
But speaking of some serious news, this year we had COVID. We've had a bad season, and we've also had a lot of deaths.
Yeah, I think since the 70s, this is the worst year for Hall of Fame deaths between last year and then already this year. It's unreal. When we last saw each other, there were 6, and then MLB Network put out a show about lost legends, and then literally the next day, another Hall of Famer passed away. And then since the beginning of the year, we already lost 3 legends. And it kicked off with Tony Lasorda, one of the most baseball, colorful characters in the late 20th century, died January 7th at the age 93. It hits. And then the biggest one out of the 3 we can talk about is Hank Aaron. Suddenly passed away in his sleep. He's the 10th active member that died last, I guess, calendar year. Not calendar year, but last year total, because I think the first Al Kaline was when we were early on this podcast last year. So, and then, of course, also Don Sutton passed away as well. It's unreal. Yeah, 3 Hall of Famers already.
It's crazy.
God, it's like, can we get a break? Man.
Well, speaking of people who can't get breaks,
this guy.
The Mariners CEO has been in hot water recently. What's been going on with that, Alan?
So I guess back in February, he had a Zoom rodeo call and recording and talking about the team and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
he was having a call with some kind of group.
they're like Rotary Club or
yeah,
something.
Rotary
for
Club.
Seattle
Yeah,
or-
that's it. Yep.
Yeah. So, but there's a couple different remarks between some of it. You could say it was racial, and then also, which is the big topic we'll deep dive in probably next week, is the manipulation of service time with these young minor leaguers and your top prospects. But the first thing, I guess, what people really talked about was that, but also was the racial kind of. So, former Mariners pitcher Hashi Kunala, I think his name was hired back in January to be a special assistant with the club and also like a scout. So he said, for instance, we just rehired wow, this is terrible.
Well, basically,
Yeah, the Japanese
the
pitcher.
Guy. Yeah.
He was a pitcher for us for a number of years. Wonderful human being, but his English was terrible. We wanted to get him back in the game. He came to us, about Asian scout, what's going on in the Japanese league. It was smart. And I was going to say, I'm tired of paying his interpreter, but when he was a player, we'd pay, him X. Then we also had to pay the interpreter $75,000 a year, and his English suddenly got better. His English got better when we told him that. So that was one of the big things. Like, you're like, and they also said something about some of the other Dominican players' English not being that great. So they took offensive to it. And then the team's payroll, watching the financial bottom line, is what his job said he was. But like their top prospects, former Mets, number one pick, Jared Kelnick, and then Logan Gilbert, will not likely start with the team because of the Major League service time. He said last year, if they had a COVID outbreak like Seattle and stuff, you would not have seen them. You would have seen his old ass out in the outfield before you saw them.
Yeah, and I want to say earlier today I got notification that the number 4 prospect was actually suing them because they're holding them down or like not. I don't know if it was from the same organization.
So yes, Jared came out today saying pretty much he was told if he didn't sign an extension,
exactly, yes,
he would not see the major league that year.
Crazy, right?
Because if I forgot the player was, they did sign someone last year. I think he was a first baseman or something, and he had a terrible year last year. But since he signed the deal, he stayed up the whole year.
Nuts. It's crazy. The one thing I did take away from the CEO from when I looked at the transcript was he was brutally honest, and it kind of gives you an idea of what the CEOs in baseball think about, like, because the way they were talking about the players, like, oh, this guy's gonna be a Hall of Famer. I told him this, Mike, it's gonna be his last year with us, and things like that. Like, we really got an eye opener to see like how they actually think about their players as numbers, basically, and it's crazy. I mean, I know what he said. Some of this controversial, but at least we get an idea of what they really think about them.
And this probably wasn't a great time because with the CBA coming up at the end of this season, how that comes out and looks at the players, and players are like, oh, we're going to negotiate, which the last 2 years, they have not had a great relationship with COVID, the rule changes, and now you're going into a CBA, negotiation starting, it expires December 1st, and you already know what one of the top CEOs in the league feels about players.
Exactly, and now that they're manipulating players' contracts or the way that they're treating the players because of the contracts. So it's not just about the best baseball player getting up there. And me and Al know that because we've seen some guys who we thought deserve to get up there.
Chris Bryant has been the biggest name so far.
Yeah.
They kept him in the minors till the exact day to get the extra year. Of course, he went to arbitration and lost, or he would have been a free agent this year, but he's not going to be a free agent now until next year now.
Right. So my big thing is if the guy has talent, let the kid play. Because that's how you're going to win.
This is going to be interesting to watch. They still say he needs more at-bats. He hasn't got more than Double A, but he was with your pretty much farm team or whatever last year, so if Jared has a hell of a spring, it's going to be hard to justify to send him back to AAA.
And some guys have had killer spring seasons and took it into stayed on the club because of that. So that'll be something to look into.
It's going to be something to watch.
And whether or not the CEO was wrong in this situation, at least it's eye-opening, and at least we can understand how they're thinking when they talk about their teams and evaluate their players.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to have that part of it.
Yeah, but of course he did finally resign, but still players are not happy.
Damage is done,
the damage control now and probably in Seattle spring training is not good. This is going to be a hot topic for months to come. So we have to keep an eye on this and see how these players do and what this team does because they have a lot of top prospects.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, the next thing we want to talk about is the MLB is making some changes to the ball. Apparently, as Justin Verlander said, the ball has been carrying off the bat, and they want to reduce the home runs, which is crazy because I thought they wanted more fans to watch the game. But I get it. There've been a huge increase in home runs in recent years, and this is their solution to lower that number. They want to deaden the ball, basically. And to do this, they're going to reduce the weight by less than 1/10 of an ounce and slightly decrease its bounciness. I think this could result in a big dip in offense as there'll be a lot more strikeouts.
Yep.
Because these days, chicks dig the long ball, and that's what guys are doing. They're not out there to make hits. They're out there to hit home run or strike out. That's crazy. It's an evolution of the batter right now.
Yeah, because, they did a survey a couple of years ago and it said nothing was changed. There's no effect, but there has been. You can clearly tell if you look at the stats. So this is similar to what the KBO has done recently, and the KBO had a 33% decrease in home runs when they did the changes. And, of course, additional 5 more teams are going to be storing baseballs and humidifiers at their home ballparks, which would be Diamondbacks, Mariners, Mets, Red Sox, and Rockies, have already stored their balls, so we don't know what other 5 teams are adding to that list.
Okay, and speaking of KBO, Sin Shu Chu just signed a deal with KBO.
Man, KBO got opened up when we had no baseball last year.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And, it just brought in the whole horizon. It's, it's a fun league. It's growing. We can say it's the 3rd league out of all. MLB is probably 1. Japanese is probably, you look at your 2nd, but KBO is coming strong.
And they're trying to. But last year it was a little cringeworthy, though, when we were watching it. Yes, we had baseball, but there was a lot of errors. I think, who was it? Addison Russell or somebody that signed over to KBO?
Yeah, I think.
And he didn't do that well. There was just a lot of errors. It's still good baseball. It just kind of reminds me of the minor league somewhat.
Yeah. It's, they don't have great guys. They do have some.
Some, yeah.
So, we had one signing with Padres. They signed one of the guys. So, we'll see what they can do. It's going to be interesting to watch. But
definitely some standouts.
But, yeah, this is going to be the first, they're trying to, because players have said something about the ball. So, they can say something going in CBA. It's like, oh, look, we made changes. So, we'll see how it reacts. So, it's going to be very interesting. So, we're going to get a little off-season topic since, we did an episode. We went deep dive in it. There's no point no more. But we're still going to talk about pretty much the 2 signing/trades that's going to make the most impact this season. So, my first one, I don't think you can call bias but as a Mets fan, but other than the baseball, you think about if you get Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco in a deal that sends 2 minor leaguers and 2 major league players, that's a steal.
Yeah. Basically got these 2 superstars for a bag of chips. Maybe not that bad, but
not as bad as the Rockies Cardinals deal.
Exactly. But yeah, I agree with that. That's my first one too. Lindor to the Mets was huge. And then you got Carrasco to just put icing on the cake.
Yes, it's 1 year Lindor, but you have negotiation rights pretty much during the spring. He said he don't really go into the season. So you have a month to negotiate to see roughly what he wants, what Cleveland didn't want to do, because he said that they had talks, but he had his number and they had their number they couldn't agree on. So we'll see if Mets can get the deal done. But then you get Carrasco for 3 years, 2 more years after the season. For 2 minor leaguers, we don't know if it will turn out or not. And then, of course, Ahmed has been getting okay. He had a down year last year, and then Jimenez had a great rookie year last year. So they got some good guys that automatically fill in the spots for them real quick.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do with that.
Yeah, but as a Mets fan, I loved Jimenez, what he did that season and last season, and Ahmed Rosario is really good too. But I am not at all hurt about this trade. This trade is great. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
All right.
So what's your other one that you got?
Well, the other one that I got is actually Bauer signing to the Dodgers. And the reason I like this is because the Dodgers are, reigning champs. They're making their team even better. And with Bauer up there, that just makes them more elite and even higher chance, in my opinion, to repeat.
Yeah. Barring the injury or anything. But yeah, you're talking about a super rotation.
Yeah.
You already had arguably 2 of the top starting pitcher with Clay Shaw, and then Walker Buehler has blossomed recently. And then you add the reigning Cy Young champion winner. It's it's a no-brainer.
That with the offense, and then the guys that you have. I can't think of the guy's name right now. The kid with the curly hair, the hard.
Oh, Dustin May.
Like I said, I like this team.
May, I thought, was finally get his shot. The 5th starter this year, and nope.
That's okay. They're still strong.
Yeah, they have 6 starters. They can throw whoever out. They'll figure it out.
I wonder what they're going to do with Jack Peterson this year.
Well, Jack Peterson signed with the Cubs.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, he was a free agent.
Well, there it is.
So,
all right. But still, Dodgers have a great chance to repeat. I would not be shocked at all if they did.
That's a solid one. The other one I have is Springer to the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
6 years, $150 million. This veteran player that the Blue Jays could have needed last season. They finally got a little taste of playoff baseball, even though they got outed pretty quick. But they end up losing to the AL champions,
but
the Rays. But it's something. You get that taste.
And that's what I'm saying. The fact is that everybody was counting them out preseason. Last
young,
year
they had no pitching really,
and they were making moves last year, and they're still making moves. But Blue Jays could be that dark horse.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like with Rays trading, Blake Snell to the Padres. Like, you were just in the World Series and you trade your ace, but there's report Glass now has finally got 2 more pitches. So if they're anything good, we think he could be, that could be someone to watch this year. But Springer in center field, I think is one of the guys they are missing. That young infield is stacked, and you just need someone who can trust in the outfield. And then Springer has been one of the best bats in the playoffs recently.
Yeah. I feel like
no can needed, because last year he went off in that run, which they almost went back to the World Series,
which was nuts,
pushing the Rays. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, no, they did things that I didn't think they were capable of, especially the way they finished their season. Like,
with losing Verlander,
barely made it in.
You lost Cole in the offseason. You lose Verlander
Got
from Tommy John.
controversies going on.
Yeah,
but
new coach.
I like the Blue Jays because what they're doing is they're putting themselves in a position to compete with the Yankees, which is the team to beat in that division.
Yeah, so. I feel sorry for the Baltimore Orioles because rebuilding is going to be harsh.
Yeah.
Because, Red Sox really didn't do nothing this offseason. So, but.
Well, I mean, on a high note, the Orioles do have Matt Harvey is most likely going to be in the minor league system.
I think he's going to make the club.
You think so?
Yeah, they have really no one pitching. So we'll see what they do. But, okay, so we're going to some topics we're going to discuss, break down. So with Trevor Bauer signing this deal, ultimately it's 3 one-year deals. If you look at it, it came out recently exactly how the payout was, which was interesting how they made the money work.
Yeah, no, very
because first year here was $40 million. Like, that's a lot of money, and how's that going to hit their cap? Because they got to be over the luxury tax. Technically, it's only $28 million base salary with a $10 million bonus.
Nice.
Now, if he opts out, he gets the extra $2 million to make it the 40. Mm-hmm. And then next year, I think it's like 32 million base, and then if he opts out after year 2, he gets extra money to make it 45. I'm like, okay, y'all are using your little worries, but so with the 2-year deal with 3 years, $102 million. Could this be something in the future? If you look at Pujols and then Cabrera recently with their 10-year deals at the back end of their deals,
right?
You're paying someone top dollar in the MLB.
But
they're putting up
at the end of their
not
years, right.
great numbers that should be worth
like
that
Pujols
money.
is considering retiring. I know his wife said that's probably going to happen, but he hasn't officially made it a thing. But he's getting paid more than a lot of guys on the team, and he's not the guy anymore. And Pujols is great, in my opinion, a first-time Hall of Fame, first-time
definitely
ballot guy. But who knows? I mean, like I said, only time will tell. It's a gamble for both players and teams.
Yeah.
If the player is good, but you don't want to gamble on a long contract, then you pay him more over a shorter period of time. So, like you said, the 3-year gamble on Bauer, pay him $100 million rather than taking a decade gamble on a pitcher when you don't know what's going to happen. Like Giancarlo Stanton, you pay the guy $300 million, he has one good year. Well, the year you pay him, and he starts going downhill.
Injuries and
I think it works both ways because I like it. So what we're seeing right now is we're seeing the older players getting a lot of money because we know what they can do, but it's for a shorter period of time. But then on the other end, we're also seeing contracts like Tatis where we're paying a guy who hasn't even finished a full season getting paid for the long term because they're betting on him.
Yes. Which it's interesting. We'll go in that here in a second, which other players have signed long terms early and compared to what newer contracts, like should you waited or not. But like, Pujols this year, he's 41, will probably be a part-time DH. He's making $30 million this year.
$30 million this year, and he'll probably hit 15 home runs. I mean, he's not going to get to 700 this year. I don't see it.
He needs 38.
People have been talking about it, and they're saying, is he going to get his 38 before he retires or whatever when the news came out? No, he's not. He's not going to hit that many this year. No, he's not.
If he gets 20-something,
I wouldn't
be
within
surprised. Less than 20, he comes back for next year to try to get the 700 then retire. It wouldn't surprise me.
And it depends. And he said it depends on his body.
Yeah.
Look, Pujols is one of the best hitters I've ever seen. It's just unfortunate, the past decade he's been getting older. Yeah. But like I said, if he hits about 20 home runs this year, I would be surprised. I'd put him around 18. Would be nice, a nice year for him. But like you said, who knows? And if he hits 18, he's still far away. I don't know if he comes back and finishes it. I think he falls short of 700.
Yeah.
I wish he didn't, but what hurt him was the last couple seasons. I mean, last season wasn't even like a full season.
Yeah, he didn't hit much, but the 3 years before that, I looked at this morning because I was talking to a Cardinals fan at work. He's only averaged like 23, 19, and 21 those 3 years.
Yeah.
That's what he averaged for home runs.
Which isn't terrible, but
It's not terrible,
but
but
you got
it's
to
not
compare
that
to the play
30,
he's getting.
40, 50
Right.
that he was.
And that's because he's not an everyday player.
Yeah.
And his kind of build, he's a power guy. And
Yeah.
you're not getting that power this long.
No.
So
And then Cabrera, for example, he's 38 this year. He's making $30 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has 2 more years under contract for $32 million apiece.
exactly. And he earned it because he's the Triple Crown winner
Yeah.
guy, but he hasn't been the same guy in the last couple years at all.
And then, unfortunately, for that team being the downhill spiral that they are, you're rebuilding, but yet you're paying this aging star $30 million a year.
And that's our biggest thing right there. You're paying a guy who doesn't have it anymore, although he is great.
And
but
he's probably great in the clubhouse with the young kids there.
I
That's
agree.
probably too.
But as a team that needs to compete, you can't have him on the books like this. You could have used that money better elsewhere. So I don't know. They need to restructure the contract or something. But I don't see this as a good play. Like Giancarlo Stanton, he's getting $300 million. I don't see this as a good play in the next 5 years or the last 5.
I think slowly we'll see the older guys who finally hit free agency at like 29, 30 are going to get higher money, but
Well,
for like
2
4 or 5 years.
At the most.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. We'll see how baseball grows and stuff like that. But when we talk about long term deals, I guess we have to go right into the next one. Is Tatis got paid?
Yes, he did. Especially when you compare him to the guys who got the same kind of deals.
Yeah.
When I look at Tatis's deal, what amazes me is that he didn't. Not only has he not played a full season, a full 162 game season
between his injured rookie year and then the short season last year.
Right.
He has played 140 something games.
That's what I'm saying. So not only that, you're paying this guy more than Bryce Harper, I believe, right?
Technically, he's just under Harper contract.
But what I'm saying is
I think.
Harper was established when he got this contract. We knew what the kid brought. We knew what he was. He was a stud at 16 on the cover of ESPN magazine. Me and Alan both saw that when it came out.
Yep.
We were like, this guy's going to be real.
Yep.
And now you got Tatis Jr., who apparently lost 42 pounds and is ready to roll. Is that him, right?
No.
Who's that?
Vlad Jr.
Oh, Vlad Jr. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. You got Tatis, who hasn't been here that long, and yet he's a force to be reckoned with, and you see it so much. You see the potential that you lock him up.
Yeah. So, it came up 14 years, $340 million. He hasn't even hit arbitration years yet. So it's like, wow. So we're wondering, roughly it came out to an average of $24 million a year. So the breakdown is this year, he only got paid $500,000 last year. So he's getting $1 million this year, which would be about right where arbitration would have been. Next year, he's getting $5 million. Year after that, 7, 11. Then his last year of his last arbitration year, which would be about where, if he stays true, which would see what Lindor, Mookie Betts, all them, they got about $20 million. That's what he's getting.
Okay.
Then finally, that first year, he'll get another 20 years. Then it goes 25, 25, 36, 36, 36, 36, 36, and 36.
Are there any opt-outs?
No opt-outs,
That's
no full trade clause.
Nuts.
And then, so he'll be 35 when this deal runs out. So he can still sign a contract after this deal's done.
Wow. That's amazing. What a contract.
And Bobby Bonilla still be getting paid
Yes.
after this deal's
he will.
done.
Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid.
And then each year, he gets $700,000 for his signing bonus. It's not one big lump sum. It's every year he gets a signing bonus.
That's amazing. What a contract.
It's
Good
like,
for
wow.
him. I hope he pans out. I hope it's no sophomore slumps and then never come back.
It's like, man, this was definitely the
big gamble.
Not even the gamble, but the idea of what everyone's been wondering what Padres have been doing all these years, because they were terrible and making certain trades, and then he finally started signing players. Like, what is he doing? And then he signed Machado, and then it was just all coming finally together. We saw it last year with Slam Diego. He extended Lindor and all these trades. I think they're going all in, and I think when Machado's deal runs out is when his Tatis money jumps up to $36 million.
Nice.
So it bounces out kind of. So it works out. It's interesting. So this one's, and then what surprised me now, you look back, the other people who signed like Acuna.
Mm-hmm.
It was just over $100 million for 10 years.
So now that you look at that,
and then that was also in the minor league, so he still hasn't made his debut yet. And if you think of White Sox, which one just signed a deal to? Was it Roy? I think signed the deal minor league before he got called up too, I think. But then the bad one of all the ones is God, the second baseman for Braves, Ozzy.
Billis?
Yeah, his deal is terrible for a young deal to be signed. But like I said,
That's the point.
yeah,
The point is that the guys are so young that you're offering them a decent contract.
to get more money now, you're kind
Exactly.
of like, okay, I can take this money now, and
So as you see it in your eyes as an organization, you're saving money in the
Yeah.
long run because you're locking them up before superstar status happens.
yeah. Remember, Mike Trout signed early, and that deal was like nothing compared to what these were. And of course, when you got the big money, then we can all just figure out that.
So it makes me wonder, with all these leaps of faith and signing these guys when they're minor leaguers or barely playing a game in the big leagues, they must have some kind of feel about the guys, and the analytics must be outrageous with these guys because that has to have
Yeah.
a big play in it.
Oh, yeah.
Because why else? If you haven't seen a guy in the big leagues doing what you want him to do before you give him a big contract, and you sign him pre that, you know something special about the kid.
Well, yeah, especially if you think about the White Sox, they have so many young prospects. So you think about here,
Great prospects.
especially they'll all be around the same time. Arbitrations will start hitting. They'll start paying these guys. Let's go ahead and sign these deals now, so we know exactly what we can pay other guys that we're going to need.
And if you could lock this many guys up for these kind of steals, like you just said, Acuna, what would you say it was $100 million?
Yeah,
in
it's
10
just
years?
over $100 million. Over,
What a steal!
Yeah.
If you could steal this many guys, then you could have a dynasty.
Oh yeah,
That's all I'm saying. That's a great deal.
definitely. So it's very interesting with these deals. So we're going to talk about this real quick, a little more. We'll take a quick break. All right, everyone, welcome back. So we talked about Tatis signing. So the next one you got to think about that's got to be coming, if they are, is Juan Soto.
Yeah.
What kind of money you think? Well, honestly, he's already been. This is his year one arbitration. They already agreed. He's making $8.5 million this year.
Okay.
So you're talking about, he'd be a free agent after 2024. He'll be only 26 years old. You can sign him to a 10-year deal. He still will only be 36.
It'd be a pretty good deal, I think.
Yeah, since he is so much younger. That's the thing with Tatis. He was signed out of the Dominican, I think, at 15.
Yeah,
so that's why the deal works. Same thing with Soto.
Doesn't he owe people like $30 million?
So yeah, well, Tatis apparently there's an organization where if we give you, depending on how much money you take from us, you owe us a percentage of your deal if you sign.
Yeah.
Now, if you never make it to the big leagues and you never sign your big deal, you don't owe them back.
That's
it's
crazy.
a bet.
That's crazy.
It worked out for them because Tatis got paid $30 million over.
So it sounds like it worked out for both of them.
Yeah.
To be honest, because Tatis is still getting paid pretty dang good.
Yeah, I think he took like the $250,000 one, which I think is the max you could take.
And it's not going to mean anything to him because he's going to get endorsements and this and that.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to make all this money up.
He's the face of baseball, so he's going to definitely
Right.
make it up. But yeah, if you think about Soto,
right.
if you want to sign him long term now, you're talking 340. He's probably going to ask damn near close to 400.
And what I'm thinking is, I don't know if the Nationals are going to do it. I felt like, yeah, they won the World Series, but they didn't feel like they wanted to keep a good team together after that. I mean, I know they locked up Strasburg at the time, but I still feel like there's a lot of moves that should have happened that didn't. Like, I don't know if the owners are fully in on this team. That's my issue.
You think about there's deferred money, like Max Scherzer has deferred money and
Yep.
stuff. So it's like, they only went Harper around $300 million for 10 years. So it's like, what are they willing to give and bet on?
Well, what I'm saying is if that was their realm for Harper,
Yeah.
I don't see much different for Soto because if you were going to lock up a guy, Harper was the guy to lock up. He brought the energy. He was the face of the team, in my opinion. Now you got Soto, who is still great.
Yes.
I just don't know. He's not Harper yet, but
He's damn near close.
Do you think they're going to offer him anything
I
better
don't know.
than
Like
that?
there's been no really talks of what people have heard.
Maybe longer years.
So I think if he comes out this year, kills it, has another, batting title, MVP year, then you really got to start asking yourself.
I don't know, man. I feel like Nationals would give him like 340 over 12.
It's going to be interesting. Like I said, he'll be 26 when the free agent hits. So say if he signs next year, let's say 12 years. So he'll still be around 36, 37.
Right, and depending on what's going on, then who knows?
Yeah.
But I guess it comes down to what team is hot, what team needs a player, when it's time for
Yeah.
him to make a decision.
And then I bet the biggest thing also what some teams are probably waiting on, which is surprised they didn't wait, and these players is the CBA.
yeah,
What's going to be included? It's going to be very interesting who's going to give what. So it's going to be very interesting to watch with that one. So I guess the question I'm going to ask, if you're young stars, do you sign early or do you bet on yourself and see how it plays out?
personally, if I was playing as a young star, I would probably take the deal because that's guaranteeing me money. It makes me feel like I'm in a place where I can relax. I can build a home. I can just play ball, not have to worry about this crap. And then once I'm done with that contract, hopefully I'll have another big one after that. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if it works for both of us. You're not trying to screw me, try to underpay me, but I want to stay here, take a slight pay cut, then hit the open market. Like DeGrom said it perfectly when he asked his press conference the other day I watched was they asked like, are you going to think about the opt out because Bauer was offered and is getting $40 million a year? He's like, and I looked up, DeGrom's making 33, so he's talking $7 more million.
Pretty good,
but he said he wants to be met for life. He really hasn't thought about the opt outs, but when you love or you're comfortable where you are, you're going to take less money to make the team better around you.
Exactly.
It's unfortunately it's not like football where there's salary cap, so there is a lot of sacrifices. Tom Brady has been one of the biggest one all those years, taking all those sacrifices to get a team around him.
And that's a good strategy because if DeGrom does the same thing and doesn't worry about this extra couple million, let's worry about the ring.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. If that's what's
like,
more important.
If anything, I think whose contract I was looking at? Oh, it's Pujols. When I was looking at his deal, there was so many bonuses if he hit certain things. Like if he ended up getting the home run record, it was almost a $3 million bonus.
Yeah.
With the Angels. So stuff like that you can put in like, look, if I do this, bonus, MVP bonus, like stuff like that can be where you can make the money up.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, if I'm young enough where I can look at it like I can still get another deal, like maybe not even 10 years, I'd probably do 8. Where it gets me through arbitration and maybe a couple years after, and then we can negotiate maybe still extending later.
Right. And I get it from the other side, too. If you want to bet on yourself because you're not too sure about the team, you're sure about your abilities, and you want top dollar. But if you're that good and you're facing a franchise, the money's going to come.
Yeah.
In my
like
opinion.
You said, endorsements.
Right.
Especially nowadays with memorabilia, autograph signings. A lot of players are locking up with these big companies, franchise, or like the MLB Player Association, and signing and making money. So,
like I said, I got other things to worry about if I was a star. I want to sign that good contract and go play ball.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all we got this week. I guess we can talk about something real quick. Is the comments that Mike Trout said that he's hearing people and is tired of losing too. It's like,
oh yeah, look, if I was Mike Trout, I would be tired of losing because I'm tired of not seeing Mike Trout in playoffs. In my opinion, he's definitely one of the faces of baseball, but we're not getting anything from him.
Yeah.
We're not getting anything from this live Hall of Famer in front of us because he's on a crappy team.
Yeah, here on the East Coast, we're not staying up to 10:30, 11 o'clock every night to watch Mike Trout.
No.
And it's very rare he's on the East Coast.
I might see a couple of bats from him and then go to bed and check out highlights.
So you want to see that guy is 8 o'clock playoffs on national TV.
Look, to be honest, I wouldn't even care. I know this is sacrilegious. I wouldn't even care if he played for the Yankees. I would just want to see him on the East Coast.
Like we all thought it was coming where he was going to go home and be a Philly. We thought it was going to happen.
That would be heartbreaking.
With Harper and Trout. I thought it was lining up, and then he extended.
They would be the favorites for sure.
I was like, God. I was like, imagine that outfield. But it didn't happen. But it wouldn't surprise me if he kind of looks and like, look, they didn't make no deals this year again. Like, our future is not looking great. We don't have a good farm team. I think it's time. But he's even being vocal about the CBA and stuff. So, and the rumor is he's meeting with lawyers and stuff weekly. So he's gonna be a big name in the CBA negotiation here this year, and he should be. But man, Angels, if you do not make any moves, if you come close and still don't make any moves to improve y'all's chances, you're gonna lose it.
Before we go, what do you think about Cespedes holding this little tryout or whatever's going on?
He's gonna try. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting. A lot of players,
Can you even trust him to not just leave in the middle of a game?
I guess more so because he felt like he was betrayed by the bonuses because he needs to have so much playing time and he wasn't getting it. So I feel like he needs to sign like a more of a minor league deal to prove himself.
I doubt that's happening.
I doubt too. And then you think about Puig as well. He's still available.
Yeah.
He had an okay year in the Dominican League, the Winter League. So, people have contacted him. So I think that's more seeing how the market plays out because there's still a lot of people not signed. And we're already full rosters and everyone showed up, this week. So it's like we're in it. Games start next week.
Yeah.
So unless someone gets injured, it's going to be interesting with a lot of these players.
Any last thoughts?
I don't think so. I think it's been interesting so far. No big news. Well,
Tim Tebow retired.
yeah, Tebow.
That's okay. Not
he
big
finally
news.
gave it in. It's fine.
About time, probably.
Brian Dozier retired. Decent career. He got his World Series title with the Nationals. So these guys won ring. Unfortunately for the Twins, they lost their top prospect today for the season. He slipped on his ice and partially tore his ACL.
Oh, so bad.
I'm like, ouch. But I'm thinking, like, Twins. I'm like, are they in Florida or do you not make it down to Florida yet? And maybe slip before going to spring training then. It's like, man, that sucks.
All right.
So, but yeah. So we'll be back next week. So we'll have a weekly podcast. Try to have it out on every Friday. And next week, we're going to talk about the minor leagues. There is hopefully a minor league season. Schedules just came out. And then we'll talk deep door because these players come out left and right about CBA talk. So we'll get into this and much more. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.